Welcome to the NASCAR Live Chat with Hamm. Today I'm going to recap the Talladega 2019 fall race, which started on Sunday, October 13th, and finished yesterday, which was Monday, the 14th of 2019. And my name is David Hamm. If you don't know me, I'm a 25-year NASCAR engine builder, recently retired. I was a 7-year jackman, and before that I was a 5-year dealership technician, owner of Hammscapes Landscaping and equipment repair and that kind of stuff. But we're going to talk about some NASCAR right now. And we'll go over the finishing order of the 1000bulbs.com 500 at Talladega Super Speedway in Alabama. And I got my spectacles on today because I'm going to be reading off the computer screen, and it makes it a lot easier for me. But hope everybody had a great day. And right now it's going to be Monday evening when you're going to watch this live. And then I'm going to chime in, and if you have any questions, put them down in the comments below, because we're going to be chatting back and forth on this episode, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have about NASCAR and engine building and my life, my 7-year career as a pit crew member, as a jackman, and then also, as I said, my 25-year career as an engine builder. So first up we had Ryan Blaney won the race. Which was I think he won by like a foot. It was like 0.007 seconds. It was the win over that, which was very tight. One of the closest in history. He won that race over Ryan Newman, Denny Hamlin in third, Eric Almirola fourth, Michael McDowell, Austin Dillon, Corey LaJoie, Chase Elliott, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Ty Dillon rounding out the top 10. So that was 6 Fords, 1 Toyota, and 3 Chevys in the top 10. How about that? Only 1 Toyota for a change. Yep, that adds up to 10. All right, so we'll do a quick lap by lap. This was the pole sitter was Chase Elliott with his teammates Alex Bowman, William Byron, and Jimmy Johnson, second, third, and fourth. So it looked like it was going to be a Chevy show at first, you know, and that's the way it goes sometimes, especially at Talladega. You can have a really good qualifying run and end up not finishing that good in the race. You know, you've all seen it there, and you can actually be running towards the back and come and win the race too there. It used to be more so, but the way these cars are now, I think they've got them pretty good. I like that new package. I like that setup. All right, so let's see. Denny Hamlin, he started 40th after failing to turn in a qualifying lap due to a blown engine. So lap 1, it was all the 4 Hendrick Motorsports cars go to the bottom and pace the field. Lap 2, Brad Keselowski takes the lead with the help of Clint Bowyer. So the Fords are ganging up and going together to pass them Chevys. Lap 3, the first 5 cars are single file, and they are 2 and 3 wide on back. Lap 4, Austin Dillon is on the charge with help of Kyle Busch. Denny Hamlin follows. Lap 5, Austin Dillon takes the lead back from Brad Keselowski. Skip over some of this. It gets to be a bit too much. Lap 15, Kurt Busch is first and Kyle Busch is second. We all saw how that worked out a little bit later on in the race. Lap 16, Ryan Blaney trying to lead a charge on the outside with help from Kevin Harvick and teammate Joey Logano. Let's see here. Ryan Blaney gets a speeding penalty going down pit road. To add insult to injury, he was trying to get the car woed up, but that didn't work out too good. It did in the end, but at that moment it didn't. All right, so Matt Crafton took over for Paul Menard, who had neck pains and something regarding his discs. So I'm not really sure the deal with Paul Menard. I know he's had some issues here lately. So lap 41, Brad Keselowski and Ryan Newman battle for the lead. So lap 51, Eric Jones has sparks coming out from under his car. If you saw that, that was like big time. Had that been a night race, it would have been like fireworks going off all over the track there on that. Stage 1 winner was William Byron, and this is right as the rain began. William Byron won the Stage 1, Joey Logano second, Bowman, Stenhouse, Keselowski, Larson, Johnson, Suarez, and Kurt Busch. The next day, all right, so they called a race for the rest of the day because it started pouring down. So they come back Monday, October 14th, and after that, getting some rest, I suppose, or partying with some of the drivers on a Sunday night. So lap 58, Brad Keselowski needs a push from the wrecker to get started. And it looked like it was a pretty long push that he needed too, because it went on for a while pushing him. Ryan Blaney is first, followed by Alex Bowman, Ricky Stenhouse, and Joey Logano. Lap 61, Ryan Newman penalty to the rear of the field for pitting too soon, which actually worked out okay for him. I don't think he had any choice as far as having to pit there. Let's say he had a tire going down and he ended up tearing the fenders out from under the car. He wouldn't have finished second, I could tell you that. Lap 67, Daniel Suarez is trying to start a second line with help from Kevin Harvick. Lap 74, new leader Joey Logano. The Fords were looking really strong yesterday. And speaking of Fords, I'm going to show you my jacket here. My buddy Tom sent down to me. Of course, I've got my Ford shirt on. This right here, since I knew that I used to build engines for, well, let's see, Jamie McMurray, and it was also Matt Kenseth. So he sent this down to me. How about that? How cool is that? This was the Matt Kenseth one when Matt drove that car. So, yeah, very cool. Thank you, Tom. Tom Robinson. Robinson Equipment Paint. All right, so lap 80, Brad Keselowski has help from Joey Logano and Stenhouse to pick up the bottom. Let me skip over some of this. All right, lap 93, penalties against Ryan Truex, Denny Hamlin, and Corey LaJoie all have to serve pass-through penalties for speeding on pit road. Lap 107, this was a good, there was a lot of kind of big crashes, but 107 crash. Bowman spins in front of Johnson, Elliott, Larson, and Hamlin. Truex Logano had a big run on the outside, and Bowman tried to block it, and trouble ensued after coming out of the infield care center. Bowman said that one was on him, and I'd second that. Take this thing off. It's a little bit warm. It finally warmed up down here in the south. I'm sorry, I said it finally warmed up, but it actually finally cooled down. And but today it warmed back up a little bit, and the stink bugs are coming in here, invading my shop, and they love it. The warm and the lights and all that kind of stuff. All right, so lap 117, leader Keselowski, followed by Bowyer. Lap 131, last fall's winner Eric Almirola is currently second. Let's get down somewhere. All right, so lap 153, Bowyer spins on lap 3, turn 3, and gets stuck on the apron and can't get going and goes a lap down. That was he was sitting there with his on the apron turned sideways, and his rear wheels were just spinning. You know, the back end of the car was being held up by part of the upper part of on the track, and then the front was on the apron itself. So yeah. All right. So if y'all saw my nails, because I was in a womanless beauty pageant last Friday, and I still haven't taken the time. I think I'm gonna take some Lycra thinner here in just a little bit and get that off there. Yeah. But my eyeliner finally did fade out. The things I do for money, that was for charity. That was for Red Cross, so it's for a good cause. Last year we raised $40,000 for the American Red Cross. Hopefully this year it'll be more than that, and I think it probably will be. Let's see here. Lap 158, green flag. Bowman leads Chris Buescher, who was in second. He had a really good run going yesterday. Stenhouse mounts a charge with Almirola and takes the lead by laps 160. So 163, Logano wrecks. He actually blew a lift for a tire. Took out Byron, Suarez, and Ryan Preece. Lap 164, the 22 car is on pit road getting repairs to his hood because his hood flopped up. You know, it was like Dumb and Dumber when they're riding down the road and the hood's up on the car. So 164 to 166, Byron and Jones are done for the day. So the cars involved in that crash were the one car, the 20, 21, 22, 24, 41, 47, 51, and the 66. So yeah, that took out a bunch of cars. Lap 170, Stenhouse leads with David Reagan in second. And David was looking good up there yesterday too. Lap 171, Ricky Stenhouse keeps switching lanes to block Kurt Busch. So Stenhouse was putting the blocks on Kurt Busch. So Kurt Busch takes the charge with Matt DiBenedetto. On 182, this is the big wreck of the day, you know, the big one right there on that last lap. 182 was a huge wreck between Brendan Gaughan, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, among others, and Gaughan went airborne. So he basically cruising along, flipped around 180 degrees and landed back on his wheels. How about that for that safe car safety there? Kurt Busch bumped Kyle Busch. This is how it got started. Kurt bumped his brother. It looked like just a little bit, and then it looked like the 17 come up on the 18, and then it maybe pushed some of the air and just really took him out the rest of the way. Not that it was the 17's fault at all. It looked like it was his brother taking him out, but I wasn't disappointed in that, except for some of the cars that took out. But not that the 18 was out, I wasn't. But when I saw Brad hit the wall, that was not good. Red flag comes out. Michael McDowell is leading with Ryan Blaney in second. So Blaney leads with 2 laps to go. 188. Blaney leads. Newman leads side by side. The final lap. Hold on, I got to back up here. All right. I guess that wasn't the final. I thought that was the final lap whenever Brendan Gaughan went airborne. Okay. The final lap. Ryan Blaney beats Ryan Newman to the line by 0.007 seconds, as I mentioned earlier. So the first stage winner was William Byron. Second stage was Clint Boyer, and the race winner was Ryan Blaney. So that was a very exciting race, actually, for Talladega. I always like Talladega races. You know, to me, they're always pretty, for the most part, they're exciting. There has been some back in the day where they just lined up and they just rode around the whole race, but for the most part, you always have the big one and that kind of stuff. So, last year's NASCAR champion Joey Logano is 18 points above the cutoff for the 2019 playoffs, but it's still not quite comfortable yet. So we'll see. When the Talladega race ended, Joey finished 11th in spite of his car looking like it had run in Martinsville or Bristol in one day. You know, they had the duct tape all over the hood, keeping the hood down. It was taped up with the 200-mile-an-hour tape. That's right. The battle scars of his hard fight at Talladega, but he hung in there. And not only did he finish 11th, but he also had 2 stage runner-up finishes and gained an 18-point advantage over the cutoff spot heading into the round of 8 playoffs. So he survived an 8-car pileup and finished ahead of 8 other less fortunate playoff drivers. And Joey also had to go to the end of the cutoff line at one point, after being served a penalty for pitting before pit road opened. So Joey suffered a mechanical failure at Dover and finished 25 laps down. I'm sure y'all remember that. But I believe it was the broken axle. He went into Talladega as a 3-time winner of that race in previous years. And now he is concentrating on Kansas, where he has 2 wins. So that should be good, you know, coming up next week. All right, Denny Hamlin had to start at the back of the field due to an engine change. Ryan Blaney received a pit road penalty of speeding down pit road. To add insult to injury, the car wheel hopped, spun at the entrance of pit road, trying to whoop his car. All right. Let's see. At the end of stage 1, Paul Menard got out of the 21 Wood Brothers, and Matt Crafton filled in for him. Let's see what else happened. During the rain delay on Sunday, General Motors Motorsports Vice President of Performance Department Jim Campbell called a meeting with the drivers and car owners mandating that Chevys draft together in a single file and march to the front to ensure a victory. Didn't work out for them. I remember seeing that during the rain delay, and I figured that's what was going on. You know, they have a big Chevy meeting and get all the drivers in there. None of the drivers would talk about it. They just kept talking about how excited they were for the new Corvette and all this stuff. So yeah, I'm glad that didn't work out for them as far as that goes. We had us Ford in victory lane. So Austin Dillon was finished the highest amongst the Chevy drivers, coming in 6th. So 8 Chevy drivers had DNFs, and I believe they are now in the bottom 3 in the 12. Let me see. I'm gonna find this. Chevy was NASCAR's dominant OEM from 2001 to 2015. During that time, Chevy won 14 of 15 manufacturer championships, but has lost to Toyota in 2016 and 17, and Ford in 2018. So let's see here. Yeah, Chevy has struggled greatly when they moved from the Super Sport to the Camaro in 2018. So Austin Dillon won in 2018 Daytona 500, but no other Chevy won again until 6 months later when Chase Elliott won at Watkins Glen. Elliott and Larson have Chevy wins this season, but all other drivers have struggled. The 7-time champion Jimmie Johnson hasn't been to victory lane in 2 years, and Richard Childress Racing is performing poorly. So Hendrick Motorsports is not as good as it was when Jeff Gordon was still there racing, obviously. And Chevy hasn't been a part of the Homestead Final Four since 2016. Win at Talladega would have ensured a second driver into the round of 8, increasing their chances to making it into the Final Four. So as you know, Larson has made his way into the Final 8. So we'll see if that holds out, in the next couple weeks. So since Ryan Blaney had that .007 second finish over Ryan, that was the 6th closest in NASCAR history. That's 7/10 hundredths thousandths of a second, 7 thousandths. The closest finishes ever recorded since NASCAR started using the electronic scoring system in May of 1993. So who knows how close it was before that. And heck, some of the drivers used to finish on their own lap back in the days. Ricky Craven versus Kurt Busch, they finished at a 2 thousandths of a second at Darlington in 2003, so that one was recorded. The record was tied in 2011 when Jimmie Johnson beat Clint Boyer in a 4-wide finish at Talladega. Other close finishes were .004, .005, and then .06. When I was a jackman for Joe Nemechek, and we thought we won the race at Talladega, and it was at the start-finish line. And somebody looked this up for me, because I believe we just got beat by Terry Labonte, if I'm not mistaken. And we thought we won the race. We jumped off pit wall. We were excited, and then come to find out we didn't win the race. And that was Nemechek was driving that Nemco Motorsports car, and I was the jackman for that car. Okay. The story of the 3-car that Richard Childress ran on Sunday, drove around the track before the race, I'm sure y'all saw this, has a little more to it and the fans were asking, why is that car fixed and the tire marks taken off? Well, when that car went at Talladega in 2000, nobody had any idea that it would be Dale's final victory. So the car was fixed, cleaned up, repainted, and used as Dale's backup car in 2001. Only after Dale's tragic crash was the true sentimental value of the car realized. That's pretty much what we do all the time. You race a car, and if it runs good, well, you also want to think, well, we're going to come back with something even better for the next year, but we'll take this one since it's a proven winner, and we'll make it a backup car. It sounds like that's exactly what they did. So I kind of wondered that too. I was like, this can't, it's not the same exact car like it was whenever, the only ones that are like that are, whenever you have a Daytona 500 winner and a car goes to the museum. Now, if you took that car straight out of the museum, put it on the racetrack, that's the exact car ready to go. All right, so we're rolling into some cold beer, warm beer. Let's see, Ryan Blaney gets a cold beer because he came into Dega outside the transfer spot. At the end of Dega, he came out a winner, transferring to the top 8. So, also Ryan Newman, a second-place runner-up, best finish of 2019. And had he made it into the top 8, or the next 8, I kind of thought he was going to. He was one of the surprises for me. Michael McDowell, a 5th-place finish, tying his best season at Daytona. And also Corey LaJoy, he finished 7th place, 1 spot off of his season's best. Give this guy a cold beer because of the big wreck he was in. Brendan Gaughan wrecked and rolled over once while airborne. And his memorable interview line, he says, "I'm okay, Mom. Yes, I will see you in the Daytona 500, Mom. Sorry." Okay, so warm beers here. We have the Hendricks cars. All 3 playoff cars needed strong finishes. Instead, all 3 were in wrecks. So Bowman, Elliott, and Byron are in a must-win situation at Kansas. Also warm beer, David Reagan, he failed to finish in all 4 restricted plate races this year due to being caught up in accidents. Maybe I should say that he needs a cold beer because, he couldn't really help that. So the car owners, the 14 of 40 cars were eliminated by crashes and several were damaged. Yes. All right. So, All right, I'm going to roll into the point standings right now. We have Denny Hamlin leading, Martin Truex, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Clint Boyer, and William Byron. So congratulations to Joey, Brittany, and Hudson Logano on the announcement that they are expecting a second son of Hudson. It's going to be a big brother. How about that? Very cool for them. Rodney Childers renewed with the Kevin Harvick and Stewart-Haas Racing, and nearly 6 seasons together, the duo has 25 wins, 1 title, and 4 trips to the championship. For Childers and Harvick have been successful since they came together in 2014 and won the title. I could attest that Rodney Childers is a stand-up guy. He's been a friend for several years now. Remembering from being at the racetrack, but he actually came along after I was already gone from the racetrack, but I've seen him since I've been back and in the years since. But he come into the shop quite a bit over at Roush Yates Engines. Just all around good guy. And follow him on Twitter. You know, he's always on there commenting back and keeping in touch. Stewart-Haas Racing announced Smithfield has renewed their sponsorship contract on the number 10 Ford Mustang. No word on how long the extension is, but it solidifies Eric Almirola as the driver of the 10 moving forward. And we also just found out here a little bit ago that Clint Boyer has agreed to a contract extension and will return to the number 14 Stewart-Haas racing car for the 2020 season. And something I've been thinking about doing here is adding some more stuff for my 2020 season. So on my live chats with Hamm, I was thinking about doing a roving race reporter. So if any of you out there are going to a race, you can send me an email. Let's see, all you got to do is write up a brief story about the race you attend and email it to me, and just something to include you more in the chats. And I'll give you a shout out in the chat and tell about your experience going to the racetrack. So if you plan on attending a race in 2019, you can start now and then act like a reporter and then bring me back some information, and then I'll add it on here, and then also do it again next year for 2020. So that would be really cool, and I'd like to get y'all more involved in it, because especially since I haven't been going to the races, I've been watching them on TV, but I do plan to go more next year. I want to go and camp out, actually, is what I really like to do. All right, so moving into the next race, we have Kansas coming up. It is the 6th race in the 10 of the playoff series, and I got stink bugs just flying all around in here. They are loving it. They sound like little bzzz flying around. Comment below and tell me if y'all have the stink bugs as bad as we do here in North Carolina. I mean, I'm not sure how it is up north, but I don't know if they just move down here or what happens this time of year, but it's really bad this year. All right, so the first race ran at Kansas was in 2001, and I was there. That was my last year as a jackman. Really nice track. When I went, it was very nice, and I'm sure they've added on since then. They had 6 different sponsors. The driver with the most wins was Greg Biffle, and then followed by Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick, and Tony Stewart each have 2 wins. So team with the most wins was Hendricks with 5 wins there. Manufacturer with most wins is 10. It doesn't say. I guess that would be, let's see, Jeff Gordon won the first race in 2001. So I'm going to have to look up that manufacturer. I think it was Chevrolet, I'm assuming, but I'll have to go look that up. I'm pretty sure it is, because it says with Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, and Hendrick had 5 teams with the most wins. So, all right, the track length is disputed by the 2 major series that run at Kansas. This was kind of interesting. Kansas Speedway, that we're talking about Indy and NASCAR. NASCAR timing and scoring uses a length of 1.5 miles, and the IRL timing and scoring used the track length of 1.52 miles. Yeah, what's 200ths of a mile? But or 2.41 kilometers for the NASCAR and 2.45 kilometers for Indy. So Indy Speedway Corporation began exploring the idea of building a racing facility in the Midwest in 1996. Attention was turned towards Kansas City area in 1997. Officials considered both the Missouri and Kansas side of the city, but eventually settled on Kansas side because of better funding. The architecture firm HNTB, which also designed Chicago Speedway, was selected to design the facility, and the firm Turner Construction was selected to provide construction management. So construction began on the 1,200 acre 1,200 acres, 1.5 mile speedway in May of 1999, and in July, preferred tickets went on sale. The demand of the ticket sales prompted ISC officials to expand the planned 32 by an additional 36, expanding capacity from 75,000 to 82,000. Speedway officials were hopeful to have the track completed sometime in 2000 and possibly host a race, but construction was delayed by weather and further complicated by lawsuits from nearby landowners. In May of 2000, both IndyCar and Nascar announced events to be held at the Speedway for 2001 season, and that's when they did it. So the track paving began in September 2000, and construction of the Speedway was completed early 2001. So I got to go when it was brand new, and I haven't been back since. All right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in to NASCAR Live Chat with Hamm. And if you hit me up on Instagram, DHammiam, and also on Twitter at DHammiam. And let's keep in touch and put down your comments, questions, any of that kind of stuff in the comment section below. Hit like if you like this video, and we'll just keep on rolling. Every Monday night at 7:30, I'll do either a live or do a premiere video. But thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see everybody next time.